In the last few years, Xi Jinping has repeatedly told his nation to prepare for extreme scenarios. He has spoken of dangerous storms on the horizon. For most Americans, this language sounds distant, like abstract political threats. But for military planners at the Pentagon, extreme scenarios mean one thing: a long, brutal industrial war. And they are terrified. Because when you look past the headlines, past the talk of stealth fighters and hypersonic missiles, and you look at the hard, cold numbers, a terrifying picture emerges. Let's talk about ships. According to analysis from sources like the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIL, China has the industrial capacity, the shipyards, the welders, the steel, to build over 1,500 vessels, including its Navy, Coast Guard, and maritime militia. 1,500. Now look at the United States, the nation that built the arsenal of democracy, the nation that built thousands of ships in World War II. Today we are down to just five major naval shipyards capable of building high-end warships like destroyers and submarines. 5. The central question for America's national security in 2025 is not, do we have better soldiers? We do. The question is the U.S. military falling behind China simply because America builds too little? This isn't a drill. This is a wake-up call. The thesis: it's not the ships, it's the shipyards. For decades, the American public has been told that we have the most advanced, most powerful military on Earth. And in many ways, that is still true. A single U.S. aircraft carrier is a masterpiece of technology. Our submarine fleet is the quietest and most lethal in the world. Our pilots are the best trained. But we are preparing for the wrong kind of fight. We are preparing for a short, high-tech war that is over in 72 hours. China, on the other hand, is preparing for a long industrial war of attrition, a war that isn't won by the first punch, but by the last ship standing. And in a war of attrition, the only thing that matters is your industrial base. It's not just about the ships you have, it's about your ability to build, repair, and replace the ships you will inevitably lose. This is the real US-China military comparison that matters. And on that front, we are losing badly. According to US Navy intelligence, China's shipbuilding capacity is now 232 times greater than that of the United States. Let me repeat that. Not 232%, 232 times. In a single year, China can build as many ships as the entire US Navy has in its total battle fleet. This is the extreme scenario. The thesis is this: the next war won't be won by technology alone. It will be won by factories. And America, the country that built the modern world, has forgotten how to build. Anatomy of the hollowed arsenal. How did this happen? How did the arsenal of democracy become a hollowed-out shell? It didn't happen overnight. It was a 40-year process, a death by 1,000 cuts, driven by 3 key factors. Case study. 1. The peace dividend fallacy. First, the end of the Cold War. In the 1990s, we declared victory and cashed in what we called the peace dividend. We believed major industrial wars were a thing of the past. The future, we were told, was small counterinsurgency fights in the desert. So we systematically dismantled our industrial base. Since the 1980s, the United States has closed over 90% of its major shipyards. We shut down factory lines. We outsourced our manufacturing, our steel, our microchips, our machine tools, to other countries, including, ironically, to China. We taught our brightest minds to be bankers, coders, and lawyers, not welders, engineers, and machinists. We traded our factories for finance, and for 30 years it seemed like a good deal. Until now. Now we face an industrial superpower, and we've forgotten how to make the very things we need to compete. Case study. 2. The civilian paralysis. The second killer is a disease that started on Main Street. It's the same bureaucratic paralysis that stops us from building bridges and roads. In our previous analysis, we called this the lawyerly society, a system where due process has metastasized into paralysis by procedure. You want to know why we can't build new shipyards? The same reason we can't build a highway. NEPA, the National Environmental Policy Act, a well-intentioned law that now means it takes an average of 4.5 years and 660 pages of reports just to get permission to build. Major projects are delayed for 10, 15, 20 years by endless lawsuits and public comments. The project to replace the Tappan Zee Bridge in New York, the total project documentation ran 25,000 pages. China builds a new shipyard in the time it takes America to finish the paperwork for one. This lawyerly paralysis, this cultural inability to build, has infected everything. It stops our economy at home, and it is now crippling our national defense. Case study 3. The Jones Act, the smoking gun. But the third reason is the most specific. It's the most ironic. It's the smoking gun that explains why our shipbuilding industry specifically is dead. It's a century-old law called the Jones Act. Passed in 1920, this law mandates that any ship, any vessel, moving goods between two American ports must be built in America, owned by Americans, and crewed by Americans. It sounds patriotic. Buy American. Protect American jobs. It was supposed to protect our shipping industry from foreign competition, but what it actually did was create a non-competitive, protected monopoly. Today, a Jones Act-compliant container ship or tanker built in the U.S. costs 4 to 5 times more than the same ship built in South Korea or Japan. The result? No one can afford to buy these hyperinflated ships. So, we just don't build them. Our entire commercial shipbuilding industry, which is the foundation for all naval power, has completely atrophied. It's gone. You cannot have a powerful Navy without a powerful commercial shipbuilding sector. In World War II, we converted civilian auto plants to build tanks and civilian shipyards to build destroyers. That was the arsenal of democracy. Today, that arsenal is empty. China, meanwhile, is the world's largest commercial shipbuilder. Their military shipyards are supported by a massive, thriving, and subsidized commercial industry. Our Jones Act, designed to protect our fleet, has instead guaranteed its obsolescence. It is a self-inflicted wound, and in a conflict, it could be a fatal one. The extreme scenario, a Taiwan conflict. So let's apply this. What do these numbers mean in a real-world extreme scenario? Let's talk about a hypothetical conflict over Taiwan. This is what senior analysts at CSIS and the Hudson Institute are warning about right now. In the opening days of any conflict, America would likely lose ships, destroyers, cruisers, valuable high-tech assets. That is the brutal reality of modern warfare. In a short war, our technological edge might win the day. But China is not planning for a short war. They are planning for a long one, a war of attrition. So let's say the U.S. Navy loses 20 ships in the first few months. The question is not just, can we absorb that loss? The question is, how fast can we replace them? The answer is terrifying. According to the Government Accountability Office, GAO, it currently takes the United States 7 to 10 years to build one new destroyer. Our shipyards are already backed up for years, just trying to perform maintenance on our current fleet, let alone build new ones. We have submarines, billion-dollar assets, sitting in dry dock for 4 years, waiting for repairs. Now look at China. With their massive industrial capacity, analysts estimate they can build a new destroyer in 18 to 24 months. They can build 3, 4, or even 5 ships for every one ship the U.S. can build. This is the industrial war. This is the extreme scenario. It's a war where our high-tech, billion-dollar ships, if lost, are irreplaceable. It's a war where China can simply outproduce us. They can absorb losses that we cannot. They can build a new navy faster than we can repair our old one. This is what America builds too little truly means for our national security. This is the hollowed-out arsenal. Conclusion and resonance loop. The hard truth is this. America is preparing for a short, high-tech war it wants to fight. China is preparing for a long industrial war it knows it can win. For 40 years, we celebrated the peace dividend. We outsourced our factories. We built a lawyerly society that makes it impossible to build. We protected our industries with laws like the Jones Act, and in doing so, we strangled them to death. And now the bill is coming due. We have the best trained sailors, soldiers, and pilots in the world, but they cannot fight a war with ships that are stuck in dry dock, or with munitions that are waiting in a production line that no longer exists. The next great war will not be won by soldiers alone. It will be won by factories. And the arsenal of democracy has forgotten how to build. This industrial crisis is the single biggest threat to U.S. national security. But it all started with a problem right here on Main Street. To understand the root cause of this national paralysis, why America can't even build roads and bridges anymore, watch our previous video on the paralyzed giant in the lawyerly society. And finally, we have to ask the hard question. The U.S. has the world's best trained sailors, but they can't fight a war with ships that are still waiting in line to be built. What part of America's industrial decline worries you the most for our national security?